Detailed descriptions of elf appearances. Stories of elf sightings. The Kopaviga Road Incident. One of the most famous stories is the Kopaviga Road Incident from the 1970s. Workers were building a road near the town of Kopaviga but kept experiencing problems. Their equipment malfunctioned, and strange accidents occurred. Some workers reported seeing small, human-like figures near a large rock. They believed these figures were hidden people living in the rock. A medium was brought in to communicate with the hidden folk. The medium said that the elves wanted their home, the large rock, moved to another place. After moving the rock, the problems stopped and the road construction continued without further issues. The Alfhólsvegur story. Another well-known story is about Alfhólsvegur, a street name that translates to Elf Hill Road. In the 1930s, a family moved into a house on this street. They began experiencing strange events, objects moved on their own, and they heard mysterious noises. Believing they had disturbed the elves, the family sought the help of a local seer. The seer advised them to place an offering outside their home to appease the elves. After doing so, the disturbances stopped and the family lived in peace. The Reykjavik construction delay. In the early 2000s, a planned highway near Reykjavik was delayed when workers encountered a large rock believed to be home to hidden people. The construction was halted for months as negotiations took place. The rock was eventually moved with great care, and the project continued without further problems. Huldufólk, hidden people. These are the most commonly reported type of elf in Iceland. They are described as looking very similar to humans, but slightly smaller, often between 90 centimeters to 120 centimeters tall. They are said to wear clothing that resembles Icelandic traditional dress from the 17th or 18th century. Men are often described as wearing dark trousers, vests, and pointed hats, while women are said to wear long dresses with aprons and headscarves. Ljósalfa, light elves. These are less commonly reported but are described as tall, ethereally beautiful beings with a soft, glowing aura around them. They are often associated with healing and wisdom. Some describe them as having long, flowing hair that seems to shimmer with its light. Dokkulfa, dark elves. These are said to live underground and are described as smaller and darker than other elves. They are not necessarily evil but are considered more mischievous and unpredictable. Some reports describe them with slightly pointed ears and eyes that reflect light like a cat's. Jólasveinar, Yule Lads. While not strictly elves, these 13 magical beings are often grouped with elf-like creatures. Each has a distinct appearance and personality, often described as wearing woolen clothing and having long beards. They are said to come down from the mountains in the 13 days leading up to Christmas. Detailed elf sighting account. Here's a more detailed version of a reported elf sighting from the 1990s, as told to folklorist Magnus Skarfinsson. I was hiking in the lava fields near Hafnarfjörður on a misty summer evening. The light was strange, not quite dark, but hazy. I sat down on a mossy rock to rest and eat a sandwich. As I was eating, I had the sudden feeling I was being watched. I looked up and saw, about 20 meters away, what looked like a small man standing by a large rock. He was no taller than a 7-year-old child, but his face looked older, maybe in his 40s. He wore dark trousers, a green vest over a white shirt, and a pointed cap that was also dark green. His beard was neatly trimmed and he had a pipe in his mouth, though I didn't see any smoke. We stared at each other for what felt like a full minute. I felt frozen in place, both terrified and fascinated. Then he smiled, just a small smile, and nodded at me. I blinked, and in that instant, he vanished. I searched the area but found no trace of him. I've never seen anything like it before or since, but I'm certain of what I saw. It wasn't a child or a small adult, there was something unmistakably other about him. I've come to believe it was one of the Huldufólk. This account demonstrates several common elements of elf sightings: the misty, twilight setting, the detailed description of clothing, the brief, peaceful interaction, and the sudden disappearance. Elf beliefs and modern construction. The intersection of elf beliefs and modern development in Iceland is particularly interesting. Here are some specific examples. Bolungarvík Tunnel Incident, 2006. During the construction of a tunnel in the Westfjords, workers reported a series of inexplicable equipment failures and accidents. Local elf believers suggested the project was disturbing an elf habitat. The construction company, while not officially acknowledging the elf claims, agreed to have Erla Stefansdóttir, a well-known elf communicator, visit the site. She reportedly communicated with the elves and negotiated a solution which involved leaving certain rocks undisturbed. After this, the construction proceeded without further issues. Alfahol, Elf Hill, in Kopaviga. In the 1930s, road construction was planned that would have destroyed a large rock believed to be an elf church. The wife of the man in charge of construction had a dream where elves asked her to protect their church. As a result, the road was rerouted to go around the rock, creating a strange curve in an otherwise straight road. This curve remains to this day and is often pointed out on elf tours. Reykjavik Hotel Project, 2013. Plans to build a new hotel in downtown Reykjavik were complicated when elf advocates claimed the construction would disturb an elf chapel. The case went to Iceland's Supreme Court, which didn't rule on the existence of elves but did halt construction pending an environmental survey. Eventually, a compromise was reached where a protected mossy hillock, the supposed elf chapel, was carefully moved to a new location. Alftanes Road Controversy, 2014. A highway project on the Alftanes Peninsula was delayed due to concerns about disturbing elf habitats. Elf advocates argued that a particular rock on the proposed route was home to 3 generations of elves. The issue gained international media attention. Eventually, it was decided to move the contentious rock to a new location, with elf communicators overseeing the process to ensure it was done respectfully. These incidents highlight how elf beliefs can have tangible effects on modern Icelandic society, influencing decisions about construction and land use. Elf sightings and academic study. While belief in elves is often seen as folkloric, some academics have studied the phenomenon seriously. Here's a closer look at some academic approaches. Anthropological perspective. Anthropologists have studied elf beliefs as part of Iceland's cultural identity. They often interpret elf sightings as a way for Icelanders to maintain a connection with their past and with nature in the face of rapid modernization. For example, anthropologist Kerstin Heistrup has written about how elf beliefs reflect Icelanders' complex relationship with their landscape. Psychological studies. Some researchers have explored the psychology behind elf sightings. A study by psychologist Erlendur Haraldsson found that people who reported seeing elves often scored higher on measures of creativity and sensitivity to their environment. This has led to theories that elf sightings might be related to heightened sensory awareness or vivid mental imagery. Folklore studies. Folklorists like Terry Gunnell have extensively documented elf sighting accounts, tracing how these stories have evolved. They've noted how elf descriptions have changed with Iceland's society. For instance, some modern accounts describe elves using technology or driving cars. Parapsychological research. Some researchers have approached elf sightings from a parapsychological perspective, considering whether they might represent some form of yet unexplained perception. However, this approach is controversial within mainstream academia. Geological connections. Some geologists have noted that many reported elf sightings occur near unusual geological features like lava formations or hot springs. This has led to speculation about whether certain geological conditions might create visual or auditory phenomena that people interpret as elf encounters. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. That will help me a lot. Thank you.